Hey everyone, my name is Ethan, and I want to tell you a personal message through YouTube or wherever I post it on. And this happened very, very recent, and it's fresh in my mind, so I just want to discuss it here with you. And for anyone who's listening that may know this person or not, you don't need to do anything for me or support me in any way if you don't want to. But I am going to mention just the beginning, just his first name, and but not his last or anything. Just for privacy of his, for his sake and all, because I don't want, But if he is listening to this at all, of this recording, or this video, that is, I want to tell you, a very personal message through here, during the explanation here. So, and this is just honestly how I feel. Okay. But it's also what happened too. So, I want to start by asking you this question: is honestly, why does something good or great that happens in your life has to be always taken from you in this world? And I will answer that later on, but I'm going to answer in a different sense. So of course, my name is Ethan Bonser, Bonscr. I am from Michigan, and and the person that I am talking about, his name is Michael. Now, Michael is a very common name, but I know I said at the beginning of this recording is that for his privacy I won't mention his last name, but I'll mention just the middle. There's the last initial, D. So Michael D. And I'll tell you why I'm telling you all this, as I want this to be public in a way, but I also want I don't really care if anyone supports me or of this conversation or anything like that. You can tell me your own opinion down below in the comments below, but whether I won't respond to any of them probably, because unless they're absolutely important to me. But for the most part, I'm only mentioning this because I want others to know. I want others to be aware of it. So, Michael D. is my friend, is a current friend. I knew of Michael D. since like 2012 2021, maybe 2020 or 2021, or even a little before. Between 2019 and 2021, I knew of him. And before I go any further here, I want to mention that I am bisexual. And for anyone that doesn't know bisexual, you can look it up. It is just saying that I am attracted to both genders, male and female. And I don't care about that whole BS bullshit, whatever, with all the other names and titles and whatever it takes and all. I'm stating a fact about my life, of being bisexual. So that you understand, at least with this conversation or with this, or with this recording, that you understand the context of it, at least. And Michael D I know for safety or public, I wouldn't usually mention it, but because he did post it in on Facebook somewhere, that he came out publicly, I'll mention it for the cross-reference, but also for the understanding of the contents of this situation. He is gay, and that's basically it. So, but anyways, so let me continue where I was. So, me and Michael are friends, in real life, but I knew him since either 2019 or 2020, one of the 2 years, and it was developing as the friendship that we were starting. I seen a post of his on a random page, either on a random page or whatever on Facebook, and then I messaged him. He said something like on there, which I know it doesn't matter what he really says, but it said something like, if you agree with this, or if you say hey or hi to me, I'll respond. So I literally said hey, and then he responded. Not long after, he added me as a friend and right away messaged me. At first, it went. Actually, I won't even mention about so much of the past, that far in the past, but I will mention that it was on and off with the friendship because of, he was currently, and even to this day, he is with someone. And the first time I talked to him as it was being developed of our friendship, that he, thought of me as a brother and as a caring friend or brother, and at first I did not mind, but I told him later on I wanted to be more than that, and he said, well, I'm already with someone, and then we just argued and complained, and I even tried to talk to him through like text messages and whatever, and he's like, because he actually sent me his phone number before, and and I just messaged him and other stuff and whatever, and all that other stuff happened. So it didn't go well, very very much well, but as far as that went, went on again, the second time, and it went well for for a hot minute, but it wasn't. But it didn't go very well for like it ended about a month or two after, late into the, the second time, because I mentioned something about whatever, if he was still with someone. Then he said yes, and then I got upset and whatever and blah blah, and and it's like I share my feelings, but he was, he understood at first, but I think he did say it's all in the past. That is forgiven, like it's past his history, whatever, blah blah. And I said okay, and but then it just all went downhill from there. So then we ended the friendship again. The third time, which is the current one, is when I seen it on Facebook again, of him, on a random support group, and I knew who he was because I seen the face. I'm like, I recognized the face immediately. I thought about it, and then I'm like, I'm gonna add him as a friend and see if he responds. If he blocks me, then he blocks me. If he doesn't, then within the same day, less than a few hours later, he added me, accepted me at my friend request on Facebook. I messaged him, he messaged me back. I told him, I'm really sorry about, everything and, of the past. And he says, all is forgiven, it's in the past. I'm like, okay, thank you. And then I just try to be calm and steady and all, and see it, and I didn't, but it seemed like from when I seen the videos of him on YouTube, and I have watched the videos, most of them, and there were more recent ones of 3 months ago and whatever. He looked different a little bit, but not very much. He acted different. He was more supporting and upgoing and more down to earth and everything like that. Like I think he did finally, as I understand, his maturity has finally reached to that point. He still understands everything. He knows what he's doing, but he's like to that, like he knows he has a maturity, a great responsible mature personality. Very friendly, very everything, So after a while of that, which lasted less than lasted for less than a week, less than even a week. It was, because I know it wasn't, like days on end. It was literally just a week or so that we talked. Like that was the shortest ever thing, and it wasn't him. It was me. I blame myself for it all. I mean, he can be to blame as well, but I don't. But yeah. But I was but I knew what I was doing, what I did was wrong entirely, and I didn't. And as much as I, as much as I would like to, I would share responsibilities. I'm not going to. I'm taking the full blame. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Michael, for everything I've done. I'm sorry I'm sorry so much. Terribly sorry that I stepped over boundaries, and everything, and I have more to say, but I'm gonna continue with this so that others will know. So, I don't, in the video is not gonna be like monetized or nothing like that. I don't even give a shit about that. This is not for whatever reason. I'm mentioning this to everyone because I want others to know how, if they relate or something, or if you guys understand, but I was talking, so later on in the conversation, for the first few days, I was getting I wasn't trying to do anything, whatever, but I will say it has been, it became very, it wasn't at first. For the first day or two, it wasn't like that. I don't believe so. As far as I understand. For the third day, I don't know how many days, but I know within the same week it was like this. That I, messaged him asking him I was complimenting him. I was telling him how beautiful and gorgeous he is and everything, and I'm not lying about any of it. I'm not. Everything I'm saying is the truth. Everything. Even if I say it on here of anything extra, I mean everything I say. So I asked him, I did ask him afterward, after all the compliments and everything, I wanted to talk. I wanted to see about, asking him personal questions, and I asked him, can I ask you personal questions? And then after a while he said, you can ask me anything. And I said, okay. I said, are you, and immediately I went to, without thinking so much, I said top or bottom. And for anyone that doesn't understand, anyone that does understand that already knows, but anyone that doesn't understand, it's basically sex, in that sense, but of that nature. So, it was top or bottom. And he thought about it for a while, and he said, I'm versatile. Meaning both, either way, depending on the mood. And everything, but he said, what about you? What about me, Dennis? And I'm like, I'm, same actually. But when I told him, he actually says, cool. Cool, awesome. And then I'm like, and I said, well, but if I were with Michael, I would be top for sure, with a smiley face. And he hearted that, and with some emoji. And I'm not going to mention all the emojis. I'm just mentioning it the one time here. He hearted that and said, he said, "Oh," he said, "Awesome," or he said, "That'll be wonderful," or "That'll be nice." And then I'm like, and so and then I asked him like, what, like, say, how many inches are you? And for anyone that doesn't know what I'm talking about, it's not, it is of sexual nature as well, not safe for work. So, but if you ask that question anywhere, I probably would understand it as what it, in the sexual terminology of like, like, yeah, I don't have to explain it exactly. But he said, and I asked him, like, and I said, I'm waiting for you. And then, I said, well, if you don't want to tell me, that's fine. And then he said 6 inches. And in my mind, I'm like, oh, awesome. And I said, and I told him, and then he said, what about you? And I'm like, what about me? And I'm like, 7. And I'm like, what do you think about that? And he says, I absolutely love it, like, whatever. And then we just, and, like, and I know this and I'm not going to get too sexual with this, I'm just saying that's like, it went from the top or bottom to, size of down there, and, because we're both, into each other in the hall. And then also, like, if I trying to remember here, I'm gonna hold on a second.